Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to break down two of Python's most fundamental ways to store data, the super useful tuple and the oh-so-flexible dictionary.
You know, this is a challenge you're going to face in pretty much any programming project, right? You've got collections of data all over the place. How do you actually store and organize it all effectively? Well, Python gives us some really powerful tools to solve exactly that.
So here's what we're going to do. We'll start with a quick look at these data containers, then we'll dive into the tuple, think of it as a sealed box, and the dictionary, which is more like a filing cabinet. After that, we'll put them head-to-head in a little showdown, and finally, figure out how to choose the right one for your project. Sound good? Let's get into it.
Okay, so let's meet our two contenders for storing all this data, the tuple and the dictionary. Now, they might look a little similar at first, but trust me, they work in totally different ways. I think the best way to get your head around this is with a simple analogy. Think of a tuple as a sealed box. You pack your items inside in a very specific order, you seal it up, and boom! That's it. It's locked in. The contents can't be changed. But a dictionary? That's your filing cabinet. Everything's in a labeled folder, and you can add new folders, toss old ones out, or update the contents anytime you want. See the difference? One's fixed, one's flexible.
All right, first up, let's crack open that sealed box. Metaphorically, of course. So what exactly is a tuple? And maybe more importantly, why on earth would you ever want a data container that you literally can't change? It sounds like a bug, but it's actually a feature.
So, in simple terms, a tuple is just an ordered list of things. You make one using parentheses, and you can stick pretty much anything inside. Numbers, text, you name it. But the key word here, the one to remember, is ordered. The position of every single item is super important.
Making one is a piece of cake. And to grab an item, you just use its position, what we call its index. And remember, in Python, we always start counting from 0. So index 0 gets you the very first item, red. And here's a neat trick. You can also count backwards from the end using negative numbers. So -1 always gets you the very last item. In this case, blue.
Okay, but here it is, the big defining feature of a tuple. They are immutable. And immutable is really just a fancy programming word for can't be changed. Once you make it, it's set in stone. So let's see this in action. We have this tuple of numbers. What do you think is going to happen when we try to swap out that 5 for a 10?
And type error. Python slams on the brakes and tells us, nope, can't do that. The sealed box stays sealed. And like I said, this isn't a bug, it's a feature. It's a guarantee. Your data is safe, it's constant, and you can't accidentally mess it up. That's a huge deal for keeping your data clean and reliable.
Okay, so that's the sealed box. Now let's go check out the filing cabinet, the dictionary. And if the tuple is all about being fixed and rigid, the dictionary is all about being flexible and organized. So here's the first big difference. A dictionary couldn't care less about order. It's not a sequence. Instead, it's a collection of what we call key-value pairs. The best way to think of it is like a dictionary. You have a key, the word, and it points to a value, the definition. It's all about that lookup, and we make them using these curly braces. And this right here is a perfect way to see that structure in action. We're not looking for item number 2. That doesn't mean anything here. Instead, we're looking for the item labeled RAM. The key, the name, is the label on the file folder. The value, the score, is what's inside. It's just a way more intuitive way to organize data, isn't it? And here's where the magic of the dictionary really comes in. Its main superpower is that it's mutable. It's changeable. You use that descriptive key to find what you're looking for, and then you can do whatever you want. You can change an existing value, or, just as easily, you can add a whole new key-value pair right into the dictionary. Super flexible. All right, so we've met them both. Now for the main event, the showdown. Let's put them side by side so the differences are absolutely crystal clear. Okay, if you remember one thing from this whole explainer, make it this slide. It's the whole story in a nutshell. Tuples, they're your sealed box. Ordered, unchangeable, and you get stuff out by its number. Perfect for when the sequence matters, like a set of map coordinates. Dictionaries, they're your filing cabinet. No particular order, totally changeable, and you get stuff out using a label or a key. Perfect for flexible things like a user profile with fields like name and email. So, okay, theory is great and all, but why does this actually matter when you're writing code? Let's look at a couple of real-world examples, because that's where you'll really see where each one of these tools shines. Take a look at this, A tuple is absolutely perfect for storing something like a student record. You have a roll number, a name, and marks. The order is fixed and it makes sense. And because this is the kind of data you really don't want to change by accident, that sealed box immutability gives you a great layer of protection.
Okay, now for a totally different kind of problem. Imagine we need to count how many times each letter shows up in the string Hello World. A tuple is just not going to work here, right? It's totally useless for this. We need something where we can store a character, keep a running count, and update that count on the fly. This is a job that is practically made for a dictionary.
And here's how we do it. It's actually pretty straightforward. First, you just create an empty dictionary. Then you loop through the string, one character at a time. For each character, you ask, "Hey dictionary, have I seen this letter before?" If the answer is yes, you just add one to its count. If the answer is no, you add it to the dictionary for the first time with a count of 1. And you just keep doing that all the way to the end of the string.
And when you're done, voila, you get this perfect summary, a dictionary where each key is a character, and its value is the number of times it appeared. So we can see L showed up 3 times, O showed up twice. This is something that a rigid, unchangeable tuple just could not do. No way.
So, to wrap it all up, the big takeaway is this. Choosing the right tool for the job really, really matters. Go for a tuple, the sealed box, when the order is important and you need to protect your data from being changed. They're also super fast and efficient. But grab a dictionary, the filing cabinet, anytime you need that flexibility to add, change, or look up data using a specific label. It's all about picking the structure that fits your problem. Data is literally everywhere. And now that you really understand the difference between these two powerhouse tools, the sealed box and the filing cabinet, what are you going to build with them? Because knowing how to store and organize information is the first big step to bringing all your amazing ideas to life.